Here we are streaming live on August 16th, and we have some big news coming out all over the place, like 20 posts from Cueanon, and we find that Omaroso might be Skulls and Bones asset. Is she or isn't she? Well, we're going to find out based on a SB2 Decode, that serial brain 2. Nobody's joined yet, so you're probably not listening. You're listening to the recording. You'll need to actually, once you hit the subscribe button, the bell has to be highlighted and say all notifications. And I have a lot of subscribers telling me that YouTube's turning that to occasional notifications versus all quite significantly on this channel. So you have to check it regularly so you get notifications of when I'm going live. But I hope all is well. And here we go. It looks like something's going wrong because it's almost. Oh, there we go. Now we got Lisa coming on. So we usually have a ton of people on by now. Probably being slow rolled I'm having a lot of censorship issues on quite a few things. I did a 20-second video and it was actually demonetized. The 20-second video was demonetized with nothing on it. So they're just completely demonetizing me even before they've even reviewed it or even obviously anybody screamed through it. Their bots have screamed through it. So I'm on automatic demonetization. Not a big deal. I'm not doing this for money anyway. There's usually 40 or 50 people online right now. At this time, I have one. Lisa, thank you for coming on and joining. There's Vincent coming on very slow, so a lot of people are not getting notifications. But hey, here we go. There's a ton to talk about today, and we're digging into SB2 post and about 20 Cueanon drops. And let's dig into it now. And here we go on this last one we looked about, which is this necklace and this charm he wants everybody to investigate. So there's been a lot of investigation going on there. That was yesterday, August 15th. So August 16th today, the first one was about anyone have any problems with their Xbox Live account shortly after the drop yesterday. Purge. How many coincidence before mathematically impossible? All right, now we seem to have people coming on. So we've got Lisa and Dana and Live and Tragic and Vince and Tina and Phyllis. So we at least got a few people coming on. Really slow tonight. We got 8 people on when we usually would have 70 or 80 by now, climbing up to a couple hundred here in just a minute. So notifications probably did not go out on this video. Not a big deal. Everybody, again, the recording, you'll get a good recording here. Here we go. Let's look at this. I'm going to actually, when we look at this how many coincidences before mathematically impossible is really going to the fact that Q talks about Xbox and PS4 chat bots, and all of a sudden the deep state has to purge it, is what it looks like is going on. It literally caused the whole network to go down, the Xbox network to go down. You'll see Xbox Live is down. So how many teens yell at me now for anyone questioning if this happened or not? So we know that it actually went down. And actually, here's a heat map kind of showing parts of the United States where it actually went down. Primarily, look at this, New York and Washington, D.C., and the areas in the Northeast is the biggest areas where the network actually went down. Nothing to see here. Drops equate to reaction, action, question mark, Q. So here we are. Cueanon makes and I'll show you his post that he made that actually caused this here in a second. So ask yourself simple questions. Is ES was trying to travel to UIO from Hong Kong? So we're obviously talking about Eric Snowden here. So people are getting mixed up between Eric Schmidt and Snowden. And so this is actually talking about at Snowden right here, going to Hong Kong supposedly. Why would he route through Russia? How many direct flights per day are from Hong Kong to UIO? And there's a lot of them, right? What if Russia was the original target, which it really was? The CIA wanted him to go escape to Russia and be safe as he ratted on the NSA. Ask yourself, would you not want to be at your preferred destination prior to going public? Logical thinking, Q. All right, so here, that's 1908. And here's the one he's talking about with the Xbox Live going down, 1909. It says, anyone have problems with their Xbox Live account shortly after the drop yesterday? Purge. How many coincidences before mathematically impossible? So the fact that it's the same purge is that they're trying to basically purge. What are they trying to purge? Well, we can look back a couple of drops and he'll let us know. But really, back here yesterday, he talked about text, emails, Gmail, drafts, Gmail, ham comms, PS Box chat logs. So these chat logs are actually that Xbox chat log caused them to try to go purge everything off of it. And this was interesting because it says James Comey, probably JC, or it could be James Clapper, BO, which is probably Bruce Orr, CS, most likely Chuck Schumer, Loretta Lynch, number 2 talking about McCabe, NO, probably Nellie Orr, Bruce Orr's husband, and then Sally Yates. Bonus round. So basically saying that they're using these chat logs or ham rate. We know that the ham license was Nellie Orr got a ham's license, right? So we've got a bonus round of all these people he's talking about. So then they freak out and they basically take the network down, trying to purge as much of their chat logs as they can. Now he also posts this 426 way back on April 26, right? He says, we have it all. The right people have information. Good people are acting on the information. Think Google. Think ES departure. And there I'm pretty sure it's talking about Eric Schmidt, who left on the day, December 21st, that the executive order on human rights abuses was announced. He did not want all of Google's assets to be held up, right? To actually be confiscated. So he basically said, "Oh, I'm out of here." Think North Korea. Many drafts, many shared users, foreign and domestic, variable access, codes, fake emails, game form comms. So here he said it way back in April. He said it game form comms. But then he got more specific this time with Xbox chat logs. That freaked him out. New intel revealed today. Gmail comms. And then he has kill bracket R, kill bracket EG, define evergreen. When do you call a plumber? Ongoing investigations require Q. And this is most likely Renegade and Evergreen, right? Which Renegade being, I believe, Obama's, and then Hillary's was Evergreen, I believe. The two code names for those assets, if you will, right? So it's so awesome that just because of the Xbox and PS chat log specific item, they go through a huge effort to purge it, and it brings down the network of Xbox, which, you know, how many teenagers play the Xbox every single night? That's freaking them out, is what it is. Now, obviously, I am being completely monitored now. I would have close to 600 people on by now, and I have 64. So the notifications obviously are not going out. But that's life when you start to get critical mass here. A lot of people will see the replay, so we'll keep on rolling here. Now, here's the SB2 thing I wanted to show you. This is awesome. And this is, well, first of all, I think I want to address one subject again. I'm getting a lot of discussions on, and people mad at me because I'm not supporting Alex Jones and Jack Prozovic, so what is that, Prozovic, and these other people that are literally lying to you about QAnon. I'm sorry, I'm going to tell you guys the truth. When somebody's lying to you about QAnon, they have been compromised in some way. Now, they may be totally awesome people and maybe being bribed or something like that, right? But the fact is that what's Vladimir Lenin say? The best way to control the opposition is to lead it ourselves. So even if you're doing great opposition work, if there's really important things that you cave on, then you're probably working for the opposition, right? You're probably working for the criminals themselves, or you're being blackmailed by them or threatened, right? So I just want to make sure you knew that, because Jack Prozovic basically said that there is not comms on video game playing, and that's just a lie. To say there's not Xbox comms right here, like QAnon says, chat logs, is just lying. And so now he worded it differently, but he's being a disinformation agent completely. So be careful who you follow is still a very important thing, right? Okay, so let's look at Cyril Brain 2's post here. This is what you can find this again on the Great Awakening subreddit. So you go to reddit.com, and then you make sure you're on the Great Awakening subreddit. That's what the little R is, the subreddit, and then the Great Awakening. Okay? So the _ Great Awakening. Now, this is about Trump, Omarosa, and page 322. This is something I would like to share with you real quick. So I was in my kitchen. I've just made myself some Peruvian coffee to start the day, and I was going through the fake news channels to know what to not focus on that day, and I saw this video, and it basically was Omarosa being interviewed and talking bad about Trump, right? Ha ha ha, priceless. Trump tweets about Omarosa and compares her to a dog. Folks, when all this is over, remind me to tell POTUS he owes me a cup of Peruvian coffee and waterproof kitchen TV. This is pretty violent and surprising, right? What did I tell you about POTUS? When you don't have a satisfying rational explanation to the things he says or does, you need to dig further to really understand his message. Why is he calling her a dog? On August 12, 2018, Omarosa crosses enemy lines and is interviewed by Chuck Todd about her new book. Let's watch from 4:42 to 15:42. And here's the video. Did you catch it? At 5:15, Chuck says, Omarosa, you've made no bones about that. You have a lot of tapes. Talking about bones. So I wanted to play that real quick, just this minute here. Fair use notice to NBC.
The media.
All right, let me play the portion where you jump in and have a conversation with Mr.
Please.
Can I ask you a couple of questions? Is the president aware of this?
Let's not go down the road. This is a non-negotiable discussion.
I don't want to negotiate. I've never had a chance to talk to you, General Kelly. So if this is my departure, I'd like to have at least an opportunity to understand.
We can talk another time. This has to do with some pretty serious integrity violations. So I'll let it go with that. So the staff and everyone on the staff works for me, not the president.
You've made no bones about that you have a lot of tapes.
Wait, he just said the staff and everybody works.
Did you catch that? You've made no bones about it. That's the main thing that SB2 wants us to talk about. So he says, you've made no bones about that you have a lot of tapes. You can find the transcript of it here. I'm not going to show that. Bones? Who likes bones? Is it just a coincidence, or is it Chuck also signaling we are in canine territory? So here's a little image that SB2 put together to kind of show, talking about it. You've made no bones about that. You have a lot of tapes, and here's this dog with a huge bone. Jackpot! Omarosa book is now 40% off. So she's having to sell this book for 40% off because nobody's buying it, by the way, which is awesome. So that's that part. And then it says, now let's go to the beginning of the interview and watch from 2:13 to 2:53. So this is about 30 seconds. We'll read this.
Let me start with what you describe in your book as a year-long effort to learn the truth about a rumor that Donald Trump had been caught on tape using the N-word while working on The Apprentice. And here's how you wrote about confirming with a source that the tape does in fact exist. Page 322 of your book. On this phone conversation, I was told exactly what Donald Trump said. Yes, the N-word and others in a classic Trump goes nuclear rant. And when he'd said them, during production, he was mic'd, and there's definitely an audio track. For over a year, I'd been so afraid of hearing the specifics from someone who'd been in the room. Hearing the truth freed me from that fear. Did you hear?
So this entire interview, he only talks about page 322. That is shocking for those of you who've been following me the last week or so. 322 being the skulls and bones number. So that is just crazy to me. So did you catch it? The N-word attack against Trump is located on Omarosa's book at page 322. 322. Skull and bones. Again, now we understand what Chuck was really talking about when he said, you've made no bones about that you have a lot of tapes. He was confirming the 322 reference he made in the beginning of the interview, and we now know Omarosa is a skull and bones asset activated, funded, and mediatized to try to harm POTUS. Mediatized, that word is, I haven't heard that before. Mediatized. So here it is. Here's the pretty cool graphic you put together showing the interview with Chuck Todd and showing skulls and bones. 322. See the skulls and bones thing with the 322 right there? That's and I showed that in these other videos. And that's I think Prescott Bush is I believe George Bush's dad, and both the Bushes, Daddy Bush and also George W. Bush. I went through this Skull and Bones. So did John Kerry. A bunch of the elites go through that. And John Brennan is kind of their CIA asset that does things for them, right? And supposedly, at least alleged, as we would say, right? In her book Unhinged on page 322, just crazy. So that clearly shows that she's a paid asset that is being mediatized, right, to try to harm POTUS. When you get here, what do? You look around to find other confirmation. John Brennan never disappoints. Let's take a look at what he tweeted about the Omaroso situation. So here he is, his daily vitriol against the president. And his tweet says, and so this was Donald Trump's talking about where he called her a dog, I think. Wacky Omaroso, look legitimate as possible. Sorry, it was a different one. But so he replies to Donald Trump and he says, "You're absolutely right. If you were presidential, you would focus on healing the rifts with our nation, being truthful about the challenges we face, and showing the world that America is still that shiny beacon of freedom, liberty, prosperity, and goodness that welcomes all." Which is just so funny coming from the treasonous individual that hates this country and was sold it out completely, right? But anyway, you'll notice there's capital letters, Y-I-N-A. So that's what that he's going to focus on here. Serial Brain 2 is going to focus on. With the training you have now received, you should be able to decipher this tweet. Let's take the capital letters of the tweet and solve the corresponding anagram. This is what we get. And you'll see basically taking those letters, and you can see that Trump in that tweet said people in the White House hated her. And in Brennan's reply, you take Y-I-N-A, and N-I-Y-A becomes the top definition, and that means hated by many. But this doesn't stop her. She continues to keep her head held high. Slay the hoes. She has really good friends, and she's a freak on the down low. She forgives and never forgets. Her trust is easy to lose and hard to gain back. That's what a NIA is. And so that is what the NIA is all about. And going back to SB2 here, he basically saying, you can see, Trump informs us Omarosa was hated by the people in the White House, and Brennan enriches our vocabulary with the urban word Nia, a girl hated by many who keeps her head high and who has really good friends. Skull and Bones friends. Well, there you have it. You now know why POTUS compared Omarosa to a dog. Now question to the Skull and Bones operators who hired Omarosa to harm POTUS. You've already tried something similar against him with Stormy. How did it end? Q 1670. What happened to Stormy? Fake news Q. Do you guys know this Einstein quote? Stupidity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. Popcorn, yes, the extra large one. Q 1840. Fishing is fun. These people are stupid. Q. So that is, yes, Trump on Omarosa, page 322. 322 being the Skulls and Bones. That's just amazing to see how this game is being played out with a true war between the Skulls and Bones, evil, cabal-oriented criminals and the entire New World Order against Trump and the military intelligence. And obviously NASA and other white hats. So going to be crazy stuff as we go. So let's move into some other stuff. That's 1909. You go to 1910, and we are looking at a picture here that says, what happens if FISA fails or signers cannot be trusted? Who signed the CP FISA? And talking about Carter Page there. It's obviously there's like 5 or 6 of them, right? We know Rod Rosenstein did, or Stein. We know that Comey did it. We know several of Sally Yates signed it. How do you keep something secure and safeguarded when those at the top of the ABC departments are corrupt and being removed? Well, you can't trust them because you could never surveil like Nellie Orr, because Bruce Orr would find out about it and warn her, and then they would cut out the communication so they couldn't be caught, right? Because when you have a corrupt Justice Department and a corrupt FBI, you can't really do any proper surveillance unless what? And he gives us 2 links to basically the military intelligence of the Army, and another 2 separate links really talking to us about the military intelligence. Patriots one and all, Q. So he's talking about that whole, and there's some great posts here, and this again is 1910. So I'm going to go to some of these quotes that we talked about. And here's 1910. Thought this was awesome, where again, this is the reddit.com. Go to the Great Awakening subreddit, and if you go in there, you can see the actual post we just read, and then there's comments down here below it, plus links to all the other links for the last couple days. But it says, how do you keep something secure and safeguarded when those at the top of ABC departments are corrupt and being removed? Put it in the hands of military intelligence. Patch insignia is the United States Army Intelligence and Security Command. And this is really cool post right here. This guy says, "That's my patch. I was Signet, an analyst, electronic warfare, Spanish Inquisition. I'm crying right now. I worked for NSA. I looked for NSA, not NASA. I worked for NSA for years, and I knew there were still patriots there serving like I did years ago. God bless you, Patriot. Thanks for protecting us. Thank you for your service. We are all warriors here. I'm so excited that when this is over, I may consider going back to the NSA." So really just kind of cool post here that. And I like to go to the second, just look at this line right here and going all the way down to the next one. And you'll see military will step in. What has made the military incorruptible? And so that talks about, there's this discussion about whether they're corrupt or not. And it was a good discussion, but I'm going to skip that because it's kind of long. What I think Q is saying, I thought this was interesting. The reason this white hat op has been successful because they knew they couldn't go through the FISA courts to monitor bad actors since the signers were bad actors. Let's use a speculative example to illustrate Q's point. And he's got 1, 2, 3, 4. And he's got 1. White hats identify Nellie Orr as colluding with foreign entities in nefarious actions detected at an American citizen. White hats petitioned the FISA judge to issue a FISA warrant to spy on Nellie Orr. FISA judge Sally Yates, FBI director, etc., leak it to Orr's husband, or DOJ, or the Nellie herself. Going to the FISA court to spy on a subject is like telling the subject you're about to spy on them, unless the subject is a white hat. Military intelligence gets around the black hat network. So that's the whole point. I thought that was a really good series of discussions, and you can find them again on reddit.com, The Great Awakening. That's 1910's discussion. Right? And so obviously this is really key. This is why from the beginning Q's been telling us military intelligence is the key to this whole thing. The NASA ability to use the tools and the military intelligence combined with the executive branch is the exact thing you need to do to take down the criminal network, the cabal. Right? So let's go to 1911. "Never have I been so proud to be an Army soldier. Hurrah!" And that just brought tears to a lot of military people, by the way. So, and then another anonymous person is asking the question. So, Q, you now have half the board thinking ES is Eric Schmidt, and another half that think ES is Edward Snowden. Please confirm which. And so Q answers both those questions in the same drop. He says, "Hurrah, soldier! Thank you for your service. God bless Q." That is so cool. He's a man of for us. It's just really awesome to see Q and the team and Trump just be so pro-military, pro-law enforcement, really helping people. That's what I love. And then to the second question, he says, "It should be clear in this context, ES equals at Snowden. It should be clear based on the previous drop regarding game comms why ES was included. It should be clear that ES was used in both Google plus at Snowden to drops to establish a link." So there's a lot of discussion here about this as well, and I thought would be worth talking to about a little bit. And this is 1911. So let's go find 1911 here. Again, going to the discussion board, and the first thing he says, wait, what? I've been reading ES as Eric Schmidt the whole time. I kind of forgot about Snowden. Time to reread. So I think I made that mistake on a couple of my videos ago, since it was talking about certain things that were, but again, he's linking the two together, right? In some posts, it has seemed to be the case, but Q does it mostly to differentiate from Eric Schmidt. And so if I come down here a little bit more, and they're saying at Snowden is obviously talking about his Edward Snowden's Twitter address. So it says, LOL, Q is like, get with the program, guys. You are slacking. Said it should be clear 3 times. Cracks me up when Q gets annoyed like that. Q has been rather sassy lately, they're talking about. And 9/11 on an army post, just saying. Man, so a lot of other great discussion here that you can go on 1911 if you want to dig into more detail. Let's go to 1912. 1912 gives us 3 pass drops, just reminding us of these things. 1913. I'm actually going to blow this up so I can read it better for you all. Here it is. And so this is basically going back to 816, 816, 816. That is today. So I wonder why he put them in this yellow. I guess it's 2 of them that we just read, and then he amplifies on it a little bit. It says, what happens if FISA fails signers and cannot be trusted? We just learned about that. It's corrupt with the executives in the ABC category, so you need military intelligence. The second one talks about a email from Comey in his Gmail. Once Comey reads this tonight, I'm sure he's already has. He is crapping his pants, right? Because this is basically showing that QAnon has everything. It's the email Gmail 12/9/16. So this is way back, right after the election on December 9th, 2016. And he said, ... untethered to department standards, ... concerned dedicated resources in place are not adequate to shelter against the PCB, which several agencies contribute, ... resist op will provide enough public support for cover. I'm sorry. That was this goes on in a ways, ... That's the end of the quote. Then Q says, will you stand tall or cower? I thought that was awesome. It was talking about one of his previous tweets that Comey had. Resist op will not provide enough public support for cover. Smile for the camera. Patriots in control, Q. Whoa, that is a direct message and threat to Comey. Say, you're going down, dude. Smile for the camera when you're being taking your mugshot or you're being surveilled by us, right? So resist op. The whole resist operation will not provide enough public support for cover, because this is all coming out on you, buddy. And here's another one. He says, what a coincidence. JC, talking about in the kill box, James Comey, did your email trigger a fake news blast? And then there's a sample of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 news blasts that was back on 2016, right after that. President Daily Briefing, and it says, what exactly is the President Daily Brief and why is it important? And this is when Trump was talking about not needing a daily briefing, and they were just trying to make him look bad. President Daily Briefings, and this was CNN on Intelligence Briefings Trump, and then USA Today, Intelligence Briefing Obama Trump, and this refers back to this email, obviously trying to make, so that's how the deep state is communicating to the media through these Gmails. So right now we see a 4 a.m. talking point coming from Comey to the fake news media. Or at least, or maybe Comey got the 4 a.m. news and put it on, who knows? We know the 4 a.m. talking points. This links them together. So I thought that was incredible. It's like, wow, Q is dropping bombs for sure. Here's a 1914 when we're talking about a sample of a bunch of more fake news just today. And so Q lists like, I think 9, 10 articles of just that came out today slamming QAnon. Another wave of attacks. Same day as a targeted coordinated attack versus POTUS. Nothing to see here, Q. So they have over 100 newspapers do editorials against POTUS trying to talk bad about the fake news. And so what do? they do a coordinated fake news attack against him with 100 people. It was Greg Gutfeld on Fox. It was hilarious. Just watch the opening on the 5. It was just hilarious. Sometimes I like to watch the 5 and just see Juan to see what the Democratic talking points, because he has them down specifically. And right now on Trump, it's that he's taken James Brennan security clearance away. That's freedom of speech. So here's the very organizations that fund Antifa to take our freedom of speech away. They don't have a free press because they only have one side, and they lie to us about QAnon. They lied to us about Trump, and now they're worried about free speech. And I have 306 people watching right now, and I always have close to 1,000, right? So now YouTube is censoring me. They demonetize all my videos. They take people off. They took Alex Jones off, right? So now you have this very people that are taking away free speech, talking about James, a criminal of the state, a treasonous person, deserves to have free speech with his security clearance? Are you kidding me? So these guys, they really are the enemy of the state. These articles. So you can click on these and read all these. I'll just kind of give you you can see just by reading some of these. Top Republicans hit upon QAnon conspiracy nuts for cash. So the talking point's always QAnon with the conspiracy theory word in there, right? And then say other things like fringe and nuts. Here's one that says the 4chan conspiracy that believes Trump is a genius. Here's the Salon. QAnon, why we have the CIA partly to thank for the craziest conspiracy theory yet. So it's the craziest conspiracy. They don't even try to talk about what it is in any objectivity. They're just telling you what to think. That's what 4 a.m. talking points do and the Mockingbird media does. This is what you should think. Democratic generic battle advantage. And that QAnon is going to give them an advantage. That's talking about the Democratic advantage. That was funny. CNN basically lying again with fake polls, saying that there's going to be a blue wave still. A deep dive into the deep state unpacking the summer of Trump conspiracy theories. Obviously, if we get a vote and motivate everybody, especially after these continued drops come out from Q at an increasing pace, as you can see, the red wave is coming. But we got to get out and vote. We got to encourage people to vote, especially the ones that we wake up. Tons of Bernie supporters on this board, by the way. Ton of past Hillary voters. So there's 58,800. I'm sure a lot of them are shills, but still this is growing. But there's a good chunk of Americans that were voting Democrat, and the whole walkaway movement, the black support for Trump. There's a good chance for a red wave if we keep this momentum going, right? But the fake news is going to fight us hard. Store alt-right and pro-Trump trolls. So you're a troll if you're reading the truth on QAnon, right? So you get true intelligence, true information, and you act on that. You're an alt-right troll. When half of the people that are on this board were, again, walk away Hillary supporters and Bernie supporters. And you're calling them alt-right just because they believe truth? So that's what fake news media and the enemy of the state, cabal-controlled Mockingbird media does for you. Right? That's 1914. 1915, here you go, talking about this Reddit post. So here he is, again, Q posting from the Reddit post. So if you go to reddit.com, another reason to go to reddit.com and go to the Great Awakening is because Q's lurking there. He literally spends time on this board. So spend time there. And he took there's a video, I'm not going to show it to you, but the Catholic priest is baptizing a child, and he's mad because the child won't stop crying, so he slaps the child. What? That's just crazy. So basically Q says, man of God, see something, say something. People, all in capital letters, people must unite to clean out these old institutions. Q. So obviously we have a bunch of psycho people in power right now that feel very justified slapping a baby because it's making noise and embarrassing you as a priest. That's just wrong. 1916. It's right in the face. So it's like, whoa, are you serious? 1916, this refers back to this old picture that nobody could figure out in Hong Kong. We knew it was Hong Kong, but we were not sure who it was. They give us another closer picture, and there's shovels back here, I guess. And they say, what are the shovels used for? Q. And so there's a lot of speculation on what that's for. So if I go back to 1916, I'm going to go here to I guess I didn't find anything as interesting as I thought on 1916. So it's probably on 1918 here. It's more detail. This gets scary right now when we go to the next one. This is 1917. And it's got that same picture of this guy crossing the street in Hong Kong. Screenshot right there. You can see that. And that was posted a while back. It says, let's not forget about the Western Pacific Kindergarten. And there's a Wikipedia here on the Western Pacific Kindergarten that an Anon's posting about. And it looks like it's in Hong Kong to provide. And so he's linking back to that. So the Q reposts that, and he posts all these pictures of Bill Maher in red shoes. And these red shoes could be scary stuff. And there's Bill Maher with pedophile Anthony Weiner. And here is a picture of all the red shoes where Tony Podesta and his clan have these red shoes. And then a picture of Tony Podesta. And it literally has a picture of the disappearance of Madeleine McCann here. Whoa. Q's going to talk about that in a second. But this is big because people have placed Tony and John Podesta in that same area when she disappeared. So there's a lot of people that believe that they allegedly kidnapped her, right? So we'll see how that plays out. But Q's actually putting that in here. And then there's 2 or 3 articles here that says nothing to see here. And this gets into a bunch of actually WikiLeaks Podesta emails. And it shows all these weird dinners people are having, all this stuff coming back to spirit cooking and these red shoes. And what's scary, if you go to, and this is 1917. If I go to, I think I had 1917 in here from a discussion. Let's see if I can find it. We'll go to 1918, see if it has them. Yeah, 1918. So you can see here, look at the discussions. It's scary what they found. Now we get why Bill Maher cries so loud. He's scared. His tears won't save him. But I do want to see him cry. And here is some other people. Saddle up, Patriots. It's hunting season. We are going to flush these 6 mother F's out of them all. Holy S. Maher is in red shoes. Satanist. My only concern is the cabal response. They are evil. And but there was it must have been in a different one. Darn it, I'm going to go find it. But basically, there's an article here. I may have pulled it out. Let me try to find it real quick for you. That shows what those red shoes really mean. And basically, one guy bragged that his red shoes was one of the girls that died from the Poltergeist movie. Literally, human skin is what those red shoes may be made out of. So that's alleged, but that is what we're pointing to here, guys. This is getting sick stuff. So, and I'll show you that article later when I can find it when I go through here. But you're talking red shoes, potentially red human skin. Whoa. So that is, and we see Bill Maher, why he's so loud, why he hates Trump so much, why he's trying to get him impeached, is because why he's part of this messy red shoe club. Now, made it a little bit too big. Let me go to the next one. This basically amplifies on that. It says, remember, conspiracy friends, LARPs have access to full stock of original surveillance photos. That's just mocking the fake news media. They're lying about QAnon, and they say that Q is a LARP, which is a live action role player, which is somebody who's faking like they're somebody they're not. Here he is since October 28th posting all this stuff. Most of everything's come true. Might have been a little bit of disinformation, but in general, we have hundreds and hundreds of proofs, which you can go to qproofs.com. And people are calling him a LARP, an LARP, right? And so he's just mocking them. Yeah, look at all the original surveillance photos I've been sending you. Nothing to see here. Fake news, constant attacks, all in capitals. Nothing to see here. Enjoy the show, Q. Woo! I just think it's amazing that they are being exposed. It's gross stuff. But yes, they're being exposed finally after, I know people have been in this movement for 20, 30 years, some of people knowing all that's going on. And it's been so frustrating because nothing's ever done because we had the evil crew of 32. The last 32 years of presidents have completely brainwashed, right? Completely New World Order controlled. George W. Bush completely let Dick Cheney come in there and just run everything. So it was completely cabal-oriented running, whether it was Republican or Democrat. They don't care. And they didn't care if Jeb Bush or Hillary got elected. But they can't have Trump elected, that's for sure. So they had to nail him, and it didn't work, obviously. So 1919, breaking news via Bret Baier Fox. 4 planes have made emergency landings in Chile, Peru, and Argentina. No details yet. And here's a link to those articles. And basically, Q's linking this to his 4 booms from last week. They're trying to now do false, or I can't say that word, but it's well, it doesn't matter because it's the false flags, the staged terrorist attacks, right? And they're going to blame them on Cueanon. They tried to blame the fires in California on Cueanon supporters. They tried to say the person that demanded the OIG report was a Q supporter. So now they're going to probably blame all these planes being the bomb attacks or the bomb scares to be on Cueanon supporters. This is what the media does. This is what the cabal does. Within the week of the last boom set, ? He says, what a coincidence. Remember Southwest? Remember the Southwest engine that blew up at the same time? 2 engines blew up in the same week, right? These were these staged events. Remember Texas? Remember the MK Ultra guy that they had go set off bombs in Austin, Texas? 4? ? Boom, 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 boom. Q. So Q's clearly telling us that this is the cabal trying to cause distraction from all these other leaks that are coming out, these drops that are coming out, as well as trying to pin violence, just like they did with Pizzagate. They have some guy walk in there, an actor actually, and shoot one shot that happens to destroy evidence on a hard disk. And he was this crazy Pizzagate person. So you don't look here. Don't look at anything to do with Pizzagate. Don't look at the Podesta emails. It's crazy people. And that worked when there was only a couple hundred people following it. And David Seaman was the only real, probably big guy really reporting on it in detail. And then they put the media matters on him and slimed him up through slander. And then actually threatened other people, actually had people literally kill a guy's cat potentially, a bunch of other things that the cabal does to scare people off of reporting on it. But now we have hundreds of people like me, thousands of people doing blogs on this, and millions of people watching this blog. So it's too late for the fake news media to stop what the Lord has in control right now, right? So 1920 goes into this guy named Cotters, right? And it's talking about Andrew Cotters, and that may have been who that picture was of in Hong Kong. And an evening with cooking with John Podesta and Robbie Mook, the home of Margaret Thomas. And so I'm not sure if this was spirit cooking or what's going on, but what a notable Anons are on fire. And there's a link to this. If you want to go look at the original email, it's a lot longer than this, you can go look at that. And Q reposts that and says, why did the Podesta group close? Q. You can go see, and he put all these different articles about Podesta and their filing with foreign entities, right? So it really clearly shows that they were the front group for the Clinton Foundation, and they would get millions of dollars pay for play. If you want Hillary's time, you want to have Hillary do your bidding, then you need to give us millions of dollars. The pay for play thing was the Podesta group. So when she lost power, they lost everything, right? That's why they closed down as well as, and I think they know they've been being investigated for all this red shoe oriented activities. Tony Podesta's art showing the evil stuff that they are involved in. 1921. Mistake in photo collage posted. Reference to McCain was not intended. No connection. Q. So this is real interesting. This is the first time I've seen Q do this in this blunt of a nature. So basically, the McCann was a girl who was stolen And you can go look at more details of that. I've looked at a lot of details. That they have sketches of Tony, of the two people that kidnapped her. They look like Tony and John Podesta, and so they're alleged to have kidnapped this girl. But I think he's basically saying there's no connection to Bill Maher, right? And so I think that's what they're talking about. So I'm going to try to roll back there real quick. So right here you'll see in the collage they have Bill Maher as well as Anthony Weiner. They show his red shoes in surveillance, and they show the red shoes in this party with Tony Podesta, and they show Tony Podesta. In between that, they have disappearance of Madeleine McCann. He says, oh, that was a mistake. So Q wants to put extra attention on this, but also say, hey, it probably wasn't attached to the main point of this was Bill Maher and his red shoes, right? So, whoa, Q is on fire, giving us so much information every night the last few nights. It's just crazy to even try to keep up with. I had to split my video last time into 2 parts. It was so much stuff. So let's see if I don't want to miss anything here. 1922 is talking about BBC hit piece on Q. 3 minutes and 55 seconds. And Q reposts that and says, badge of honor, military grade, Q. So when they're doing 4 minutes of airtime on BBC, obviously that's completely deep state Mockingbird media in England. And so that's Q saying wear that as a badge of honor. That's 1922. 1923, we get into those pictures in England, and it's showing there's Lisa Page as well as Peter Strzok, pictures of them. Keep your promises. This is not a game, Q. And he reposts those, and he says, UK has problems, Q. So I think this is reference just to BBC. So that's why BBC's doing a hit piece on Q hard as well. So you know that they're trying to cover up the fact that they did Spygate, that they framed Trump. They worked with the Obama administration. They worked with the corrupt DOJ, the corrupt FBI, and the MI6 and Steele and the Russians to actually try to take Trump out. And so the UK actually colluded with foreign intelligence agencies, obviously we colluded with the foreign intelligence agency of MI6 as well as with foreign operatives to actually try to frame, to basically hand Hillary, the president, and knock Trump out. And then if Trump somehow won, frame him and get him knocked out in the first year. That's what Obama was doing, traveling all around after him, trying to let all the countries know that Trump was going to be done in a year. Well, he's not. He's still here. The last one I have is 1924. It says timeline change, watch the budget. Timeline change, watch the budget. Interesting. A lot of discussion about that one. And I'm going to go to it right now, which is 1924. See if I can find that real quick, because I think there were some pretty good discussions on that one. I'm going to refresh it because sometimes it was so new when it came up. Sometimes we'll get a new one. I'm also going to go refresh Q, make sure that we didn't get another one. Yeah, it looks like we did not get another post based on my Q app. And so I'm going to refresh it just in case, though. And then I'm going to come back here to 1924 and look at what the discussion says now. It says, LOL, try to search parade and everything is about cost, LOL. So maybe it's going to be sooner. Midterms are coming. Just announced it the next year. From Q Research, last month the Military Times reported that the initial estimates of the parade's costs were $12 million. The official we spoke with on condition of anonymity to discuss plans they haven't released yet told AP the new projection is $92 million. That represents an increase of 666%. So could they be taking down the 666 on 11/11/18 with the parade? So they're thinking this timeline and watch budget. The budget might be the budget for the parade is what they're talking about. But I'm not sure about that. That's early discussions. So we'll see as more Anons are brilliant researching this. We'll figure out what this is soon. But the timelines change. Watch the budget. So let's go through a few more of these posts to see if there's anything interesting. I know there's one article I wanted to show you about the red shoes, which was scary, and see if I can find that. Here's some more news about $21 trillion went missing from the U.S. government. Now this is Catherine Otis Fitz replying to John Brennan. So Brennan's talking about this action is part of a broader effort by Mr. Trump to suppress freedom of speech and punish critics. It should gravely worry all Americans, including intelligence professionals, about the cost of speaking out. And then it goes ... But the fact is that she replies to Brennan and she says, 21 trillion went missing from the U.S. government, including 7 trillion while you were head of the CIA. That is $65,000 per American. Millions are going without homes, education, and decent meals while you live in luxury. Maybe you should stop whining and go find the dollars. Woo! That's the way to tell Mr. Brennan. I tell you that. No question about it. So I'm going to go back all the way here. Remember, the best way to control the opposition is to lead it ourselves, says Vladimir Lenin. Be careful who you follow. I just keep saying that warning because there's too many people. Anybody who's talking bad about QAnon has not done their homework, number one. It's just pretty easy to see that he with all the proofs he's given us. And I've got like 7 or 8 videos on proofs. You can go look at proofs.com. There's also a proofs books I sent out. That's nice. So here's the Silver Brain Red. Let's see what we have here. Here's another one that emphasized and showed who this was. Found him, Andrew Cotter. So they're saying the guy crossing the street in Hong Kong was actually Andrew Cotter's, who, if you look with him, was, and some of the papers, etc., he was heavily involved with the Podesta group, heavily involved in the Obama administration as a Democratic operative, and so he's obviously as deep state as they get, and part of the Red Shoe Club, it looks like, as well, alleged. We'll see as that goes. Here's what I was looking for. This Culkin guy, satanic Hollywood execs wear shoes made from dead children. Oh my goodness. So you can go read this yourself, but it's kind of scary. Hollywood is controlled by satanic pedophiles, according to Mr. Culkin, who opened up in a radio interview describing how one Hollywood executive tried to get him hooked on crack at the age of 11 and boasted that his tailor-made leather shoes were made from the skin of dead child star Heather O'Rourke. Woo! That is just scary stuff. And this is a December 2017 article, right? So it's a little less than a year old. And speaking on radio in France, Culkin claims he only got out of the industry alive because he was a smart, suspicious kid. And he got too famous to be killed, unlike some of the other kids in the industry. The explosive claims came by Culkin were reported by French media, including Les Echos, a newspaper. However, all reports were quickly deleted within an hour of appearing online. So major censorship still going on, exposing the satanic world government. That's what's happening right now to us. It's really scary as we dig into everything that's going on. Okay, then I just had a bunch of discussions you can go see. I'll link to that in the video below. With that, I'm going to move on to a prophecy here in a second. Hey, but I do want to ask you guys for a favor. Is that I haven't had any of this. I haven't advertised my wife's business for quite some time, but she's has a chance of getting a promotion if some people if she can just save you money. I call it a win-win-win. Save you money, feed kids, and help my wife out with her business, right? And so it's ACN, it's called. They're just a reseller of all the services you use at your home. So all the bills you pay already, electricity they do in all 19 unregulated states, right? So we use our electricity here in the Dallas area and got a great rate on it, right, for electricity or gas and solar as well in different states. And then any other thing that comes into your house that you're paying on a regular basis, internet. We do internet almost in nearly every state. We also do home security from Vivint, which is awesome. Vivint here, it's also home automation, so we can open and lock our doors. We can have cameras. The doorbell cameras is my favorite. My wife loves to open up her remote studio. She does a little small 600 square foot studio, Pilates studio, where she can open up the door. And when a client left their sunglasses there, it's just awesome deal. But just think about every bill you pay. Obviously, your home phone, if you want to make international calls, that's awesome. Or have a business line. And then obviously, and then also DirecTV and the reseller for DirecTV and Dish. So any of those services that you can get in your house, if you just fill out the survey, there's a link at the bottom of this. One other thing I wanted to mention is we do business services as well. So those of you who own businesses do the same thing. Credit card processing is the one I really want to highlight here, because if you use Square, that was founded by Jack Dorsey of Twitter, completely criminal deep state, right? Alleged. And then you've got Eric Schmidt, and now Google runs it. So if you want to support Google and Twitter, right, use Square. This is the credit card processing company of the year, Anovia, and they will cut your Square prices about in half, and it's more innovative, it's more secure, and you're not supporting Jack Dorsey. So this makes no sense for you to do Square anymore when my wife has a Anovia and can help you out, right? Also, Flash Wireless is Verizon and Sprint. So if you're ready to go if you're not happy with your bills, like I know a lot of Verizon bills and Sprint bills, they'll have all these hidden charges. If you want just a flat rate with no contracts, use Verizon Wireless or Sprint Wireless with Flash. It's the reseller. Works extremely well and have great rates. So if you any of these services, I'd really appreciate you guys just filling out that little survey or just emailing me at feedingkidscharity.com. You'll see the link down below, feedingkidscharity@gmail.com. You don't need to remember that. There's just a little link. You go to the survey and you can just hit contact me, right? And then I'll get you in touch with my wife to actually help her grow her business a little bit here. You have to get certain percentages to actually get to make it worth her while. She's really close to hitting that threshold. So I'd really appreciate your support on that. Let's look at a prophecy now. Here we go. We're looking at a prophecy of Energy Now by Mark Taylor. It says, the Spirit of God says, how do you capture a country? You capture its energy. For too long, you evil globalists have controlled the energy, and it stops now. It shall be exposed in one country after another who has been manipulating and controlling my earth through oil and energy. You evil globalists think you control the oil. Ha! I laugh at my enemies. The oil is not yours, but mine, and I, the Lord, control it. I will release it to my righteous nations, and I will cut it off from the wicked ones. For I, the Lord God, own the silver and gold, including black gold. The Spirit of God says, the sign has been given that the energy boom is here now. The energy explosion will be the biggest in the history of my America and my Israel. New oil and energy will be discovered and released in the natural, and will be a sign that new oil is being released in the spiritual over America and Israel. Other countries' economies will be affected. Russia and China will be put in their place. You military shall be affected by this. Your planes will be seen sitting in the tarmac, unable to fly for lack of parts. You will no longer be considered a threat to or a superpower. When America announces she is energy independent, these things shall take place. The natural debt will be dealt a death blow from what I am releasing in the natural and spiritual. New energy is here now, and these new discoveries will confound the wise, for it is those that think they are wise that have held all this energy captive. But no more, for I am the Lord, and I am leashing it now. Wow, so that would be some good news, right, if we had a bunch of energy being released to the United States and Israel, when in fact Israel's being an exporter. We're going to be an exporter. Amazing things that God's doing now. So I want to say a quick prayer, just thanking Him for the healing of this nation. Heavenly Father, just thank you for the healing of us and Israel. We have deep state operatives in the Mossad that need to be taken out. We have the deep state operatives in the CIA, the NSA, throughout the DOJ and FBI. Thank you for exposing this and cleaning this up, Lord. We have deep state operatives in Hollywood and Silicon Valley. We have it in Wall Street. We have it in academia. We have it in our court system. We have it in the House and Senate. We have it in all local governments and police stations and sheriffs all over the Lord. In every parts of our world, we have evil cabal-oriented control. Lord, thank you for breaking that to pieces, shattering it into 1,000 pieces. Thank you, Lord, for allowing us to see it before our eyes. You heal this land. Please keep your hand on this land. We repent of the sins of this nation from the past. Ask for your forgiveness. We ask for forgiveness in the amount of abortions we do. We're 31% of all black embryos get aborted. Lord, we just ask that sin is erased as we put new Supreme Court justices that are righteous. Bring righteousness back to this land. Bring righteousness back to the different patriots around the world as they reject this globalism, new world order, and bring back your righteousness, Lord. We thank you for that. We ask for you to heal these children, rescue these children, reunite them with their families. We say these things in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Amen. All right, guys, I'm about at my hour. I'll just talk to you for just a quick second because I try to keep these to close to an hour. But I want to say Skylar and Donna and Jack and Daniel and Love, Hope, New Energy, Lightning, Kung Fu Christian, Jack, Shade, Love, Lightning, Corey, Renee, Jack, New, Karen. Looks like it's not even one of our trusty wrenches on right now, right? They have the little wrench by them, for the admins that do a great job. They probably didn't get notified since there's only 410 of us on now. We usually have a ton more than that, but that's fine. Thank you, Rick, for all your help and the great awakening of all of us. Thank you, Dream. Amen. Boom, 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 boom. I hear you. Yeah, Trump is not the second coming. No question about that. But he is the second American revolution. He is leading, being led by Jesus and God, I believe. 5-5, Rick. No mods. Yeah, that's crazy. They probably purposely took the mods off. God. So thanks, man. 5-5. Amen, brother. It's wise to support our president. Okay. Yeah, so good stuff here, guys. So we're past an hour now, hour and 1 minute, so I'm going to wrap it up here. But God bless. Thank you guys for everything. Here we are on Skulls and Bones Asset. That's what she is. Crazy stuff as we reveal. SB2 does a great decode showing 322. Again, the Skulls and Bones number being the very page number that Chuck Todd talks about when interviewing Omarosa. Crazy stuff. And a bunch of Cueanon post drops decoded tonight. Looking forward to doing this as we go forward and get more stuff from Q. Guys, have a great night and God bless you.